Now this is Zombie Woof at the schoolhouse.
Okay. How about another weed story? When I was about 32, I was living in an old four-room schoolhouse in a village in the Shenandoah Valley, small village next to a Methodist church. And the building from the outside looked like an old schoolhouse, and a lot of people would ask, is this your house? Are you going to make it into a bar? What is this place? And because of that, because of the ambiguity of what the place was, we had some interesting occurrences. One time I came out of the shower, I had a towel on, and I walked into my living room, and there was a woman I didn't know standing there, and she didn't react much to the fact I was in a towel, but she said, "Hey, can you tell me how to get to Winchester?" So I gave her directions, and she thanked me and left. Things like that happen at an old schoolhouse. So one day, when I'm 32 and I'm single, and I have two roommates at this point, and also one of the four schoolrooms is a separate apartment now, and I'm renting it to a couple. Well, this particular day, the guy was home, and he was hanging out with me and my two roommates. The four of us were in one of the big schoolrooms, and we had about 2 or 3 bongs, and everybody brought their weed, and we were passing it around, and kind of got to a point where we were taking a break, and this guy walks into the room. Now, he had to come in through the door and through a couple rooms to get to our room, but he came on in and said hi, and he sat down on one of the couches with us. It was very quiet. We all looked at each other for quite a bit. And eventually he said, "Is this the church?" And we said, "No. The church is next door, the Methodist church." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought this was the church. I'm here for the prayer meeting." And my friend Clark said, "We'll pray with you." But the guy was already on his way out the door, and so he left, and we looked at each other and said, "Well, now, it's pretty obvious that we're getting high in here. The room's full of smoke, and there's bongs everywhere. You think that's going to be a problem?" And we were like, "Nah, probably not." But he couldn't have missed it. So, tell you what, if we see the state cops show up, then we'll know. We'll keep an eye out. So we hung out for another 10 minutes or so, and someone looked out the window and was like, "There's 2 state cops at the church next door right now. They're walking inside. There's like 4 of them, and they've got a dog." And we all 4 immediately took our stuff, retreated to our various bedrooms and bathrooms, and began flushing. And about 10 minutes later, we hadn't gotten back together. We were still pretty much all hiding. Mark, the married guy's wife, came home and found him hiding under the bed and asked him what the heck was going on. And he told her, and she was like, "Oh, hell." And she proceeds to go out the side door and march across the yard and go into the church. And about 2 minutes later, she comes marching back over, and by then Mark had called us all together. We were waiting to see what was going to happen next. And she comes back and goes, "They're having a dare not to do drugs meeting next door. You guys are idiots." All the weed was gone. All the weed was gone, man. But, I mean, what are the odds? I mean, we were cautious idiots, right? It's better to be paranoid than to be incarcerated. Peace out.